is Lauren Spear, and you're listening to the HorrorFam.com podcast. My guest today is Diana Prince, who you may know as Darcy the Mail Girl from The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, but she also does a ton of stuff on her own. She runs the kinkyhorror.com, and, she does her own podcast. She does her own, blog articles, and she's all over social media and stuff on Twitter and Instagram, and she does all kinds of stuff. And, we will touch on the next season of The Last Drive-In, of course, because I know that everyone listening to this is excited about that as I am, but I mostly just want to talk to Diana about the things that she does, because a lot of people don't seem to know that she does things outside of The Last Drive-In, and she does a ton of amazing things. So,
well, thank you. That's a hell of an intro.
Welcome, Diana, and thank you for being here. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I know. Nobody's really awesome right now, but okay is good.
Yeah. We could all probably use a bit more sleep and a bit more time outdoors, but that'll come.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm getting plenty of sleep right now.
Well, that's good. So, The Last Drive-In, I mean, you guys just got a second season.
Well, we've actually known we were doing a second season for a while. It's just, I don't know. Shudder's so weird. They kept pushing it back, and I don't know why, and they won't let me tell people when, but finally, we know when, and we can say it. So, yeah, it's coming back April 24th.
Very soon.
Yeah, I honestly wish it had been sooner. I was pushing, as soon as we all got locked down, I was like, do this. We need to entertain people right now. But, fortunately, the quarantine's going even longer, so we have the opportunity.
Yeah. Well,
yay.
Yay. Gosh, yeah.
But at least we'll be here for, part of it and semi soon, and it gives me something to look forward to, and hopefully some other people too.
Oh yeah, I know a ton of people are looking forward to that. On the third podcast we did, the fourth one we did, we were talking to mutantfam.com's Frank, and he was...
Oh yeah, I met him recently.
Yeah, you guys did a show with him on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, he came to the last show that we did, our live show, in person thing that we do, the How Rednecks Save Hollywood. The last one we didn't know was going to be the last one for a while, but he showed up there, and so I got to meet him in person, which is always cool.
He was talking about how, Shudder's putting on new things all the time and everything. It's yeah, well, like most people, I never unsubscribe in between seasons of The Last Drive-In, but that's why I'm subscribed and what I'm waiting for.
I mean, they got mad at me for even saying it's for sure coming back. People didn't know if it's coming back even this year, and to me, that's crazy. Why can't we just say, yeah, it's coming back, and if it's months from now, cool. If it, just let me say. Anyway, sorry, I don't want this to be a Shudder bitch fest, but it's confusing to me.
Yeah.
But thank you for being patient and not unsubscribing.
Well, I figured that something like that was going on because you guys were kind of trying.
I did the best I could to be vague and be
yeah,
I promise it's going to be soon. But then soon became, well, we're going to push it back even a few more months. I'm God dang it, you're making me a liar.
You were trying so hard to let us all know that it's still a thing, it's still happening, we're trying.
They're telling me May. So when anybody would ask, I would say it may, in all caps, be back soon or something. And nobody really got it. They're it will or it won't. That's the best I can do, man.
Yeah.
But gladly it's coming back a little bit sooner. So.
You've done a good job holding up your non-disclosure agreement and keeping us all in the loop as best you could.
Thank you.
And yeah, we interacted on Twitter a long time ago, before horrorfam.com was even a thing. When the first season was on, and I was watching it when it was on then, and I was just man, this gal is on it. She is answering everyone. She's doing a hell of a job, and then
thank you.
I kind of poked around and I was like, oh wow, you know what? She's actually just like a huge nerd herself. Like she's genuinely into this. She's not just a model pretending to be into horror movies and stuff. You genuinely love this stuff. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh
I
my
mean,
God.
if I wasn't on the show, I'd still be watching every week and be part of all the tweet alongs. So
Yeah.
I just have to tweet a little more than I would normally.
Yeah. I was just like, oh my gosh, wow, that's really cool. And then for some reason, I don't know how, you know, all on my Instagram, and I was like, whoa, what? Like, how did she even find me on here, and
You must have
why?
said something sweet or something, because if anybody says something nice, I'm like, follow, follow, follow.
Yeah, and then
But
it's like, it's so surreal. It's like, oh my God, like Diana Prince is like liking my pictures of my cats and my lunch, you
I like
know?
the cat pictures. Post away. But congratulations to you. I'm going for a while, so congrats on getting the site going and everything. That's really
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a dream for a long time.
That's awesome.
And I'm so happy to finally be doing this and, you know, getting to be more myself and publicly weird instead of just business up front and weird at home. You know? It's been very freeing and lovely, and you've been just such a huge supporter of horrorfam.com. You were like our first follower and the first person who ever like mentioned us.
Aw.
And you've been a huge support to me behind the scenes as well, with like my weight loss journey and depression struggles and stuff. Like,
Yeah, man. I get
you're
all that.
yeah, if anyone goes to kinkyhorror.com, which is Diana's site, where she writes articles and she has her own Geek Talk podcast. And
Comes out pretty sporadically, but I do have it.
yes, you do. And I know that you have struggles with speaking, and I feel like I'm kind of speaking a bit too much right now, but that's partly because
No.
I too have trouble, and like I get nervous and overexcited and just kind of blah, you know, mouth diarrhea. But
No, you're doing amazing. Like, I get nervous too before any podcast, before any show, anything. I'm just like, how am I going to make words come out of my mouth? Like,
God, yeah,
I'm
me
so
too.
happy to just be silent and just talk, you know, in text or something. Like, so many of my friends are like that too, and we'll just sit in the corner and text each other instead of actually talking. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better about that, and this job definitely like Joe Bob forces me to. Like, I begged it. I was supposed to read all the mail and stuff, and I'm like, that is far too much talking for me. I'm just gonna hand you the letters and say the least amount I can. But slowly, he's getting me more and more used to it, so I'm kind of grateful for that. But it's still always a struggle.
Oh, yeah, but you know, the way that you have been so open with those struggles was very inspiring, and it has helped me, honestly, because it's like, well, you know, Diana is doing it, so I can get out
Aw.
there and do it too.
Well, thank you, and you and others that share their stories with me inspire me, because like I, from an outside point of view, can look at you and say, "Yo, you're doing a great job. Just keep going, just keep doing it." And then I would be such a hypocrite if I didn't say the same thing to myself. You know, like it's easier to believe in other people and encourage them than yourself. So it's like I just
Yeah.
have to kind of remember what I would say to someone else and try to remember that myself. There was times in the first marathon where like they had to push me out, literally physically push me to go out, and then I sat there and you can see some of it where he's just like, there's all these pauses because it's like my turn, I can't speak, and he's like, well, okay then. So that was the mail girl. And I'm like, okay, sorry. And I'd go back and like cry and be like, I told you I couldn't talk. I mean, so then I talk to people because I just immediately, like, everybody's like, oh, God, like so much hate after that. It's like, she's terrible. Why do you even have her? And I'm like, I know I'm terrible. Like, I told them not to have me. But so that's why I kind of explained. It's like, I'm honestly just here to help, not because I think I'm doing a good job. But like he like insisted that I keep going with it and keep trying, and it's like after so many times of doing it, I still like, even now, like right before we have to do something, I'm like, I can't do it, and start freaking out. He's like, you've done this like 185 times at this point, like why is this any different? Just do it. I'm like, okay, good point. Like, how many times can I freak out like to a crazy amount? Like, if you mess up, you mess up, you know? Which is helpful. At least as far as work, I'm still very privately, I think I do a good job talking to people, but then always people are like, oh, you're so quiet. I'm like, really? Because I feel like I'm talking a lot, but okay, I'll try more. It's so frustrating, but whatever.
I think you're doing a great job, and I know there's far more people who think that you're awesome than don't, so.
Well, thank you. At some point, you just have to just not care, you know? It's stressful too because I dealt with BDD and weight issues and stuff myself. So, like, there's a lot of times we have to just go, like, a Christmas special and stuff. We had makeup I didn't like and lighting problems and stuff like that. And if it was up to me, I'd be like, nah, we're postponing this. Like, this is a mess, but you're not allowed to. And you kind of just have to go with everything. So, it's like, it's all teaching me this just don't take everything so seriously because it's not ever going to be perfect and people are going to talk about it when it's not, but it's better than not trying.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think a lot of people can tell that you are trying and that you're genuine. That's why there's so many gifs, like reaction gifs and stuff of you, like kind of like, well, yeah, like it's fun,
No, I'm glad. I'm glad people,
And
I'm glad a lot of people accept me.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of us. You're a genuine horror fan, and you're horribly awkward, just like the rest of us.
Very true. Although I will say, as I travel with him and get to know more, it's less awkward to be his counterpart or whatever. Because I used to go, camera talk to you because he's so freaking pro. Like, he's just instantly like, blah, blah, blah. I'm Joe Bob, and I have all this knowledge and this loud, booming voice. And then I come out there and be like, hi. But now I can like pick on him and it's just less intimidating. So anyway.
Yeah. Plus, like you can kind of tell that he is a talker, like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think
like I don't think he needs somebody who's not a talker personally. Because imagine if I was somebody who like wanted to talk and be like the center of attention, like we'd be butting heads and fighting. I'm just like, finish your thoughts, keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it works, and
well, thank you.
And he's always saying such nice things about you as well, so
which I appreciate. He's super one of the kindest people I've ever met and a big supporter of everyone. Like, he's just as caring. He's not on social media as much, but I often like speak for him, or he'll send me tweets like, respond to this person or whatever. Like, they wrote something really nice and I'm like, okay, I'll get to it. But like he cares about everyone's journey and he talks to everyone at the shows like forever, and he's just so sweet and so caring. He's been like that always. He used to, back in Monster Vision days, like literally handwrite to every single person that wrote him a letter, handwrite and send it out every single person. And now he does the same thing with DMs and emails. It takes him like 150 years, but he does every single person reply to them and remember them and like there's people he's talked to for decades and knows their whole life story, and it's just amazing.
That is amazing. And I think that because you were one of like the Monster Vision kids, growing up watching Joe Bob, and then now you're
I sent in my letter asking to be a mail girl when I grew up, when I'm old enough.
And there you go, there you have it. That's gonna be like
one day, Joe Bob.
That's gonna be in the movie version. They're gonna get like somebody to play like little Diana writing a letter to Joe Bob, and then flash forward.
Honestly, he needs a movie version of his life. Like, his story is so unique. I know this doesn't just need to be the Joe Bob worship. He's lived in like the jungle with cannibal, like the cannibal Holocaust jungle. He lived there for months with the tribe, and like just he went under cover and like almost got killed by his Italian mob people. All these were just like articles that appeared in like the Texas newspaper, and like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, he's just the most fascinating person in the world, and like people just, as part of why I love just promoting him, and it's tireless for me because like he's just so amazing to me in so many ways. So I love that people are showing him that love back, because when I first met him, he was really kind of down about it. He's like, he thought no one ever cared about the work he did. He was trying to rebuild as John Bloom, and I'm like, no, man, you are totally loved. Like, you need to come back. We need you. And so I'm glad that he can see that now.
Yeah, I'm so glad for that as well. Like, similar thing with my dad, who was the guest on last week's podcast. He was one of the like rock stars practical
Oh yeah, he was.
special effects artists back in the day, and then CGI came around in the 2000s, and then it's just
Yeah.
kind of that was it. And then when I asked him, like, hey, let's talk about Beetlejuice, and he's like, nobody's gonna care about that.
Oh man,
And it's
so
like,
wrong.
no, you have no idea.
That's awesome. I'm glad he could see that people care, because
Yeah.
we definitely do.
Yeah, I'm really glad for the guys like my dad and Joe Bob, having kind of a comeback in the 2020s. And
Yeah, because back then, like, you just kind of worked in a bubble and you didn't really get feedback like you do now with everything online. So
yeah,
it's awesome to get them to see it.
yeah,
He used to tell me, or he still does, like, he's like, my show would just go out and then I'd never hear about it. Like, I'd get some letters from like prisoners and stuff, but that's it, like that's all. And I thought no one, like, it just went away and no one remembered. And I'm like,
no, people remember.
we remember. Like the Monster Vision tapes and stuff that are like all over my house currently. He's like, yeah, no one cares about that. I just kept them for posterity. And like, what are you talking about? Like, do you want these? This is a treasure. He's like, I guess. Like, who would want them without the movies? That's so boring. And like, no, dude.
Yeah, as long as you're talking about that, you said a while back on social media that you and Joe Bob were going around and getting all the old tapes from people.
Yes, we did. He had them in like several different storage lockers. One guy convinced him to keep it. He wasn't even going to convince him, like his friend, who sadly passed away like 10 years ago.
Oh.
So he had them in storage, and Joe Bob hadn't done anything with them. I know our editor, Crystal, had talked to him and got a few of them out of there and was working them herself. But didn't really, like, I think she put some out on Facebook or something like that. But that was the extent of it. And he was like, well, if some people think it's cute on the Facebook group, that's cool. I'm like, no, like, we need all of these. Like, you have no idea what a treasure this is. Like, I will do whatever it takes to put all this out. It's like the guest, even, like, just, it's so much history that is just would be gone if this isn't preserved. So I'm like, let's do it. Let's go to every storage locker where you have them. I will bring them back and I will figure out how to put these out to people. And like, I guess if you want to. I'm like, I want to. So we spent like, I think it took 6 days to drive across Texas, and there were some in LA, and finally had them all up. They're mostly in my storage locker. I'm looking at 3 big boxes in my room right now, and some of them are like on tapes. Some of them are on this freaking weird, like, I don't know, film format that I still don't know how I'm going to get that transferred, but I will figure it out, because those are the ones that are like so rare. Like, there's this like complete reel of just unedited footage from like the Night of the Living Dead cast and just things like that, exactly, that are like nowhere anymore, and they can't be anymore. Like, a lot of people have passed away, and it's just like, this stuff needs to be out there, especially unedited. That means like there's footage that people haven't seen at all. His like he was doing the Joe Bob, I can't ever remember the exact name of it, but the sleaziest movies of all time or something. and they didn't all get put out, but here they are. You know what I mean? So there's all this footage that people haven't seen, and so I will figure it out the best way to get to people. I had some stuff going, and then the lockdown happened, so a lot of people aren't working right now, but slowly I will, at least the tapes, I can probably figure that out myself. Anyway, yes, I will get that out to people is the point.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice segue from going from Last Drive-In to other Joe Bob activities to what you do personally. You do a lot in the horror community just on your own. Like, you're getting the old Joe Bob videos out to the world, preserving horror history.
It totally is history, and I'm glad I can help.
And you've got your own podcast, sporadic podcast, and you do some stuff on YouTube sometimes. Like, you've got a really you got a really awesome interview with Clint Howard.
Thank you. Yeah, that all started, I was still doing adult work, but I loved horror, so I just kind of did like, as a hobby, I started Kiki horror, because I was still, in porn, so I was like putting up my Kiki stuff and my horror, which is why it's named that. But then I would run into these people that are like icons to me at like screenings or signings or whatever, and the very first person was Jill Sholin, and I'm like, I need to do something. So I'm like, I do interviews now, so let's do interviews, because like, I just started doing it just to have a reason to talk to her. And so from there, I did a couple more, and then when I kind of segued out of porn a little bit, I still wanted to promote the porn stuff, so I started doing like carnal combats and like doing reviews of porn or whatever. But I stopped when I had this really, really bad bout of depression. I guess it's been probably 2.5, 3 years now, where like first my cat died, who had been my friend
Oh
for like
no.
ever, and so that was
I'm so
devastating. But then
sorry.
it was like this really bad like just span of time where like 8 of my friends committed suicide,
Oh my
and just
gosh.
I know like just it was insane, and I just locked myself away, and that's when I had kind of gotten out of my being super scared to talk bubble, and I was being like out there and doing more, and then that just kind of killed it. Like I locked away, didn't talk to literally anyone for like a year, just
Yeah.
my immediately family that's in my house and no one else. And so I quit doing all of that, and I would still write sometime. I kind of kept kinky horror always going, not as like passionately as I had been before, but just some things. I wasn't doing nothing. And
Yeah.
then Joe Bob's honestly the person that helped me break out of that. And I told him, like, I haven't been on camera. I haven't talked to people like in years. Like, I don't know. I can just up and do this again. He's like, well, you have to because I need you and I need a male girl and you're doing it. I'm like, okay, cool. So like I've spent so much time then like developing that and working for that I didn't really get back to my own stuff. But I promised him that this year I would focus on it more and do more with my kinky horror and get back to my videos and my pods. Of course, the virus thing that's happening now kind of made me change the way I'm doing that. But I'm still determined
You're
to
still
to
you're still
refocus
putting
on
stuff
that.
out there. Yeah,
Exactly.
you've
Like
got brand new articles. You had something up for like on Leprechaun and
thank you. But
St.
definitely
Patrick's Day was just a couple weeks ago, so
we had video the
And
articles are
and
easy.
the
Writing's
Stuart
always easy.
Gordon tribute, you
Yeah,
had
I mean,
that up
you can't
there?
not talk about that.
Yeah,
That's like a
that was
really,
just a couple days ago, and
yeah. So I'm definitely trying to keep it going that way. And the pods I had, so last year the podding was primarily just Joe Bob, honestly, because he was always there and it was easy. And we talk about like how, issues and like being on the road and stuff like that. But this year I had booked like a whole bunch of people that we would see at cons and stuff like ahead of time. And Joe Bob started being my sidekick. I'm like, it's just more fun when you're on. So we did a couple with like Frank Henenlotter and I can't remember. I think we did a couple other cute ones. But anyway, that kind of got smushed right now. But I plan to definitely keep it going even if it's hard and not let anything set it back, even this virus thing.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, at
And
the
like
very
you,
least,
look
we
at
all
you.
have, yeah, we all have more time at home to record things now.
No, that's true. Like I should start bugging people. That's my thing. I never want to bug people. I feel easier bugging them if Joe Bob's my psychic. It's like, hey, can Joe Bob and I interview instead of just like, can I interview you?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, maybe I'll hit some of those people up so it's not just me and Joe Bob always.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, people love you.
Oh,
I don't
well, thank you.
I can't really imagine anyone being bugged by you. You're always just such a sweetheart all the time.
Well, thank you. I feel bad asking for anything ever.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you set this up.
Oh, thank you again for being here and for everything you've done for horrorfam.com. Like, you were such a busy lady, and yet you still find time to, like, every time we put out like a new article or a new podcast, you're always like retweeting that immediately. And
well, if I ever miss anything, hit me up until I see it, because I will definitely help promote it whenever I can.
Gosh, I don't think you've missed anything yet.
Yay!
Jeez, yeah, and sorry.
No worries.
Brain fart. Oh yeah, and like you go to like Comic Cons and stuff like that. Like you dressed up as Catra, which was like my favorite She-Ra toy.
Yeah, shower power Catra. The variant version.
Yeah, the variant version, but still got the cat scratch action.
Yes. Oh, you know it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, your name is very similar to a favorite superhero of both of ours, I'm assuming.
Oh, for sure. When I started adult acting, like I wanted to just use my name to show that I wasn't like ashamed or anything. And my agent was like, no, we don't let you do that for your own safety. So I like had to come up with a name like last minute. And I was like, has anyone used Diana Prince yet? And they're like, no. Why would they? Like no one knew what it was. I'm like, okay, then I'm Diana Prince. And at the time, like So that would be maybe like 10 years ago now. Like nobody got it. Like very few people knew the reference. And when they did, we were like, yeah, homies for life. Like you're also a comic nerd. Now it's kind of like people like are kind of annoyed, I guess. Some Wonder Woman fans are like, you stole her name for porn, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, meh, whatever. It's a tribute.
Yeah.
And then I actually got to tour DC Comics once, and I was afraid they were gonna yell at me about it. but they were very nice. They're like, no, we're aware of you and we approve. Like, yay, I can be the Wonder Woman of porn. I'm so happy.
Well, that's very good. I'm glad that they didn't like get angry with you or anything.
Me too. I was like, yeah, my name's Casey. Like using my real name. It's like, no, we know.
Yeah, now you have like so many names. It's like you're Diana, you're Darcy, you're
I don't
Casey.
know why that's so confusing to people. Like Casey's my real name. Diana was my stage name for porn, but because most people know me that way, I just keep it going.
Yeah.
Like I think more people in my life call me Diana at this point than call me Casey. And then Darcy's just a character, so I don't know. People find it confusing, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. It makes sense. It's like Diana is your professional name. Like, you know, some writers use pseudonyms. It's just like, you know, that's the name people know you for. So that's the name you use for, you know, doing business.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the internet wasn't such a big thing, like one of the first scenes I ever did, because I kind of had a talk show and stuff back then under my original name that was mostly about comics and stuff. So I had a little bit of a following from that, and they knew that. So they used that. Like, they immediately put out my real name. They're like, Diana Prince, a.k.a. Casey Poteet, like, immediately. So, like, that was just out there forever. But, like, if it wasn't the internet age, I think you could probably, like, get away just using your stage name more.
Yeah.
But now everybody just knows everything, so.
Yeah, everybody digging into all your business all the time, so you might as well be honest about it.
Exactly. It's like, I can't hide anything.
But yeah, even though you're using the name for different things now, it suits you. You know, you got the dark hair, you got the eyes and everything, and you're a strong lady.
Thank you.
And I think it's just great, you know, that you've been so active in the horror community and getting, you know, just promoting like everyone, like even like really small. Horrorfam.com will be around for 6 months this month, April, and you know we're nobody pretty much at this point, but you have been on it. You were promoting us, and you promote other independent creators, and
you're definitely not nobody. And I mean, the bigger sites get plenty of promotion, so they don't need me. It's the smaller people that are trying and doing it because they love it that need more attention. So
that's how I feel too.
Happy to help.
That's why I'm like, I'm trying to like talk to all the, you know, the YouTubers and the indie film people and the other podcasters and you. I mean, like, you know, Joe Bob is amazing and wonderful, but we all already know that. Like, let's hear from Diana Prince. Let's hear like what she's doing, because she is also doing amazing things for horror on her own.
Thank you.
Do you have anything that you'd like to say or promote or like?
I don't think so. Like, I'm not a big promoter. And of course, the biggest thing right now is just getting the Last Drive-In out there. I'll tell you that, like, this season we have some amazing guests, and I had more to say in the movies than I usually do because I fight now. I used to just be like, okay, whatever you want to show. Now I'm like, no. Like, we have this and you want to show that? No. But the very first episode has 2 guests. One that I fought very hard to get. They didn't want to bring in because the budget. I actually paid for them to come because I wanted to make sure they were part of it. And the second one is just someone I've admired and been a fan of forever. So I'm just psyched, and I can't wait so I can yell like, we had these people on. So that's gonna be super fun.
And for the people who don't already follow you, where can people follow you so that they can hear those announcements or, you know, read those announcements?
Well, mostly Twitter and Instagram right now. Instagram is Diana Prince XO, and Twitter is kinky_horror.
Okay. And your own website is kinkyhorror.com.
Yes.
And that's not always safe for work people. So
true.
Yeah.
Although more than it used to be. I need to bring more of the kink back. For a while, it was way hardcore, and actually Joe Bob request it because I wanted to still promote, the porn industry and my friends. And he was like, could you tone it down just a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
okay, God.
I think it's got a good balance right now because it's
Thank
kind of
you.
it's like wink, kind of wink wink kinky, and you're nude but you're not doing anything lewd, so like
Exactly.
people.
And very much equality. So like I figure if you show male boobs, girl boobs should be the same. So I
Yeah.
feel no shame in that, and I will never ever like pretend like I hate censoring myself ever.
Yeah,
So
I think, and plus there's definitely like a context involved with nudity. Like nudity isn't always sexual. It can,
agreed.
yeah.
That bothers me. Like Snapchat used to be really cool about it. For example, like I would be topless and just post goofy videos, whatever, for equality, because guys could be and I could be. And then there are little guidelines. It says as long as it's not sexual, nudity is okay. So I'm like, cool. I'm only being topless, just like dudes. But then they decided, no, all female nudity is sexual, and just keep blocking me and blocking me. So that's one outlet I don't really use anymore because of that, and that's really annoying because it's just not true that just because girls are topless, it's automatically sexual.
Yeah, it's just, like all the old statues are nude, but we don't get, we're not doing
It's
stuff to
so
that,
weird. I've been arrested for topless protesting and stuff. Like one of the ones that most pissed me off was like when we were doing like boobs for bombs back in like, anyway, it was a while ago. And so like guys, like we specifically had guys, like we had guys that were heavy, so they'd have like C or D cup boobs. We had very small chested women. That's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's cool. Like everybody's beautiful, but they were, like A cup or whatever. So it's like they'd still arrest the A cup women, but let the D cup dudes go. And it's like, how does that make any sense to you? Like literally just because she's a female, like what are I don't know, it bothers me a lot, so that's why I'm very free the nipple.
Yeah, but just to let people know, if you go to kinkyhorror.com,
You'll see boobs.
you'll see boobs, but there's nothing too scandalous going on there. It's just boobs. It's cool. You'll be okay, I promise. And yeah, just thank you so much for coming on and talking and being so open and letting us know about the things that you've been doing and that you're going to do, and as much as you're allowed to talk about.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. And keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
And everybody go follow Diana at kinky_horror on Twitter and at Diana Prince XO on Instagram. She's always talking to people and interacting with all of us, and let her know that you're a fam and the mutant fam.
Heck yeah. Always trying to grow it. Bring more people in.
Thank you so much, Diana. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks for having me.